a new engine room for the pond, and I've got to come up with some sort of pre-filter. I've had several emails, quite a few emails actually, asking me if I can come up with some sort of pre-filter, something to take the algae out stop the algae from going in the filters basically, and all the larger dirt to lift the load on some people's filters, for any filter really, not just mine. So I've been asked if I've got any ideas, or would it be possible for me to come up with something. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a bash. The gauntlet has been laid down, so I'm going to have a go at making some sort of pre-filter, a sieve filter or something like that. I'm not quite sure yet, but I will come up with something, I'm sure I will. I'm also in the process of making a new, I call it an engine room. Life support, it's got several names. It's just the bit where all your bits go for your pond, the electrics and your air pumps and that sort of thing. So I also want to build myself a new one of them, so I shall be doing that at the same time. But let's go and have a look and see what's going on in the garage. Well, what I'm building here is what I call the engine room. It's where all my bits go for my pond. It's all built out. I built it out of 18mm ply, so it's nice and strong, so it can stand the outside. Some call it the life support, called various different things, but it's where all the bits go for my ponds. Like the top here, this section here will be full of the electrics, the switches, the timers, and that sort of thing for my pond that control the lights and the air pump and what have you. The second section will contain the air pumps. This will be stood up, by the way, it won't be laid down. This will contain the air pumps on there, on that second shelf, and then the bottom here, I'm not quite sure yet. I was thinking of putting my UV in there, but as you know, I do like to have my UV after the last filter, so it gets clean water all the time. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that bit there. I might get the water purifier in there so that I can filter my water before I top my pond up. Right, what I've done is just put a quick coat of wood preserver on it, because it's going to be outside. So I've just given it a quick coat of green wood preserver before I've done the electrics. So now I'm going to make a start on the electrics, get them in the top, and we'll go from there. Right guys, just to bring you up to speed where we're at up to now. As you can see, I've got the electrics in. It's all wired up. I've just got to get all the pumps and everything fitted into it, but as they're on the pond at the minute, that's got to be all done at the same time. But the major switch box is in there, a couple of sockets, and I've got 2 master switches on there just to make sure it's well fused. So now it'll be getting the door on and that sort of thing, make some sort of little waterproof roof for it. But as you see, it's laid down at the moment. The hinges are on, so I'll stand it up when it's all done, get the door on, and we shall be well on the way. Well, as you can see now, it's starting to take shape. We've got the electrics in, or most of them. We've got the door on, most of it's painted. I've got the air pump in, the door's all on and hinged, so we're well on the way now. We'll soon be taking it out there and wiring it up. There you go, I've got the roof on. That's just to keep a bit of water out of it, but that's it, just about done. I have put a lock in there. I don't know whether you can see, but there is a lock in there, a little tiny hole where the key goes. I've put a lock on it. The roof's on, so now it's all about taking it out and getting it fitted in, getting all the electrics wired up. There we go, guys. It's all in, all connected up, all wired up and running. I've got another air pump to go in there, and like I say, I've got the water filter to go in the bottom. But I've taken the old one out, I've got it all rewired. I've got my timers to go along the top there, but there it is, all up and running. A lot more efficient and better than the last one. At least I can get everything in this one. The air pump's down the bottom there, it's running, it's on the pond. I've just got my pond lights to connect up, and like I say, the other bits and pieces, and that's the job done. It's got, like I say, it's got the little lock on the door, so we can lock it up, and that's all done. That's it. All my electrics all in one spot. As you can see here, the Pro filter is still working away, doing a fantastic job, I must say. This filter is something else, it really is. It's working really well. That moving bed, there's no air on that at the minute. I've not got any air on it. It's winter time, so it's not too important. There's no air working now at the moment. Now, as you can see there, I have actually made some lids for the Pro filter. These are actually, they are made of Perspex, which I've found it easier to work with, but I shall actually paint them black. They just fit in there like so. There's three obviously, one for each tub, but I don't want the sunlight coming through there, especially on these filters, because we will get an algae problem due to the water in there. So I shall be blacking them out. I shall paint them black to cover them up so the sun can't get through. But I've made three of them, and they do just fit nicely onto the filters. I've shaped each one to fit each tub, and they just drop in there like so. That one will go on there like so. Just keeps them all nice and tidy then. Well, there's the new filter with the new engine room, all in and working, all connected up. Looks a lot neater and tidier, and everything's easy to get at. But yeah, well pleased with it. Okay, what I'm doing here is I've bought one of them WAM boxes from Homebase, and I'm going to try to make a pre-filter so that it takes out any algae and large lumps of dirt that get sucked into the pump. I have cut the side out of one of the tubs. That was the tub. I've taken a good lump out of the side of that to make the curvature. That was the old master filter that I had. Now I have been shaping it to fit the box. I've been using a jigsaw, the jigsaw and the grinder. So I've just got that to finish off and make sure it fits, and then we shall start thinking about piping it up. I have just dropped the slide into there just so you can get a better idea of what I'm actually doing. Like I say, I've cut that square out now. That is the size of the gauze, so I shall now cut a square out the same size as that of the piece I've taken out, and then I shall want a bigger piece from the tub to bolt to the underside of that. Well, that's it. The mesh is in, and the mesh should be held quite well. It should be quite good in there now. All the piping's in. We shall now get the slide back in, get it down to the pond, and give it a run. Okay guys, here it is down by the pond, all connected up. I've got the pump connected, as you can see. Pump's connected into there. The waste has a bucket under it, So it's time to switch it on and let's see what happens. Keeping your fingers crossed. And just bear with me while I'm plugging it in. Okay, it's plugged in. Oh, that flap's working well. I'm quite pleased with that. That's working really well. You can see the dirt collecting on it already. The water returning to the pond. As you can see, we've got quite a flow back to the pond. That's good. We're getting about between 2 and 3 inches of water in there. It's not quite level. We're getting a little bit more this end than that end. But as far as the filter's concerned, I think I've got that set about right. I've no need to adjust that. That's coming down there a treat. I'm starting to collect the rubbish. Excellent. That will eventually build up and then collect on this section here, and then you can just either move it down. It'll probably get washed down. I can have a little play now with that screw. Adjust it out or in to see which comes best. But excellent. Well pleased with that. Well, after an hour's running, I run it for an hour on the pond. If you can see the dirt in there that it caught, and I've actually pulled the bucket out. Can you see the dirt in the bottom of there? Bearing in mind I did sweep some towards the pump. I wanted some real dirt to go through it, so I did sweep some towards the bottom of the pump. But that's the dirt that it's actually caught in there, and as you can see, there's no dirt in the bottom at all, so it is catching everything. So I am over the moon with this. Absolutely brilliant. Well guys, that's the net back on my pond. It's starting to get really dull out here now. So that's the pre-filter built. Oh, and it's just starting to rain as well. So I'm just finishing in time. That's the pre-filter built. So all that's left to say is thanks for watching and happy ponding.